Hi guys, thanks for joining us. We got Donghee on the left, Hasung on the right. Hasung is typically a burn player. Looks like he sleeved up Death and Taxes today. And I actually tried to play, I was playing Turbo Depths this evening as well. I also ran up against Hasung this night. And that's quite a difficult matchup. Look at that main hand. He's got an opening hand, Caracas Wasteland. And looks like a bit of a mana-hungry hand, but it will tear the hell out of Merit Lages. So this matchup can be very difficult because Flicker Wisp plus Ether Vial is a really clean, nice answer to Merit Lage. And he's also got 4 main deck Wastelands and probably 2 Caracas. Caracases? Karakai? Donghee has mulliganed and gone onto the draw, scrying to the bottom. And this build is quite different than anything I've ever played. I gotta tell you, I'm not familiar with playing Exploration in this deck. And I mean, Diamonds as well. So I guess this is a bit closer to lands than regular Turbo Depths. Maybe I'm gonna change the name of this deck right quick. Maybe I'm just gonna call this Dark Depths because it's not following the classic archetype that a lot of people are going to be familiar with. He's playing Life from the Loam. So this is a much more grindy version. Maybe this is a lot better than Turbo Depths is against this deck. Hasung will search with Stoneforge. In this kind of matchup, I don't see Jute being very useful. Fire and Ice can... Is that Light and Shadow? It's not War and Peace, is it? I'm so bad at these. Searches up. That had to be Fire and Ice. Donghee has a turn 2 Hex Mage and a possibility of a crop rotation here. Now he just has to play around this Wasteland, and Hasung is not going to expose his Caracas yet. And that is unknown information. Donghee might be caught unawares by it. He'll go ahead and continue to search up Bayou in the face of the Wasteland because it really doesn't matter. And we see that he has his own Wasteland in hand, so this is a quite different build than anything I'm used to. Normally you can't play your own Wasteland because you play mainboard Pithing Needles. So this is looking way closer to lands. But the addition of a Hex Mage is something very unique here. Activate Stoneforge, bring in the sword. So sort of Fire and Ice. Ooh, and he goes ahead and tries to take down the Hex Mage. This opens an opportunity for a crop rotation. Yep. So Donghee is going to get it all now. Except he's been put into a trap of the main board Caracas, and I don't think he's going to have a way to get out of this. Hasung has perfectly baited him into it. And he can now untap, play a Caracas, maybe equip the sword. Or deploy an Ether Vial. I'm okay with the vial instead, but this is okay. He'll go ahead and draw a card. Draws the card, drops Donghi to 13. But because of the exploration and the life from the Loam engine, he can just keep on trucking. And now he's got access to his own recurable wasteland. And he doesn't have to worry about his graveyard being interacted with game 1 at all. Game 2, only marginally, and probably not something sneaky. Death and Taxes is likely just going to rip him rather than surgical or Fairy Macabre's stuff away. Donghi's a little unsure. Couple of takebacks during that. Stoneforge will get back in. I guess that's 5 more. He takes down his Caracas for some reason. Okay, it was going down for... It was going down regardless. Donghi will dredge. Finding Decay. Main deck Decay. A Ghost Quarter and a Thoughtseize. There's our first land drop. Only 1 land drop. Did he just leave a land in hand? I think this game is just about over if he equips the sword onto the Avenger. He leaves it on the Stoneforge so that the first strike off the Hex Mage doesn't do anything. And Hazung, I mean, you're going to have to put him up 20 life. There's no way around it. Okay. He goes to 28 and then 2, 5, 8, 10. Goes to 18 and Hasung will draw a card. Mother of Runes go. Life from the Loam, not in the graveyard. It is in the graveyard. Is that a second copy? We see Delta, Thoughtseize, and another Wasteland. I don't think that there's any way out of this crushing mob of creatures. He'll cast Life from the Loam. He'll get Dark Depths. A Ghost Quarter. And a Fetch. And has 2 land drops for the turn. Still facing down another 10 next turn. Casts an additional Mox, throwing away the fetch. Makes his second land drop for the turn. And is staring down another 10 or 11 on board. There's the 10 again. And he's drawn so many cards. And there's a dredge. I'm not entirely sure what he was looking for. Even if he didn't have an out, I'm okay with like looking at more cards. And post board, I mean, Donghi plays some crazy stuff. I don't know really what to expect here. I know that in my Turbo Depths lists, because the matchup can be so bad, I pack 2 Dread of Night and 1 or 2 Massacres. I don't know whether he has access to any of that stuff. Engineered Plague seems pretty good also. Hasung starts with a turn 1 Ether Vial. And since Donghi is playing a Life from the Loam deck, this constant fetching seems pretty good. He thought about fetching at end of turn, which I'm okay with. And this play pattern of Urborg into Dark Depths plus Hexmage is sort of what we're looking for. Or it looks like it'll be Tabernacle to make his second black and cause a lot of problems for Hasung to keep a board together. He will him and take 2 and 5. That's a Cavern of Souls. And a Stoneforge? Is that right? Either I'll takes up to 1. He's drawn Sanctum Prelate. And does not have a second land. Donghi hymned his land. And cast a Hexmage with a Dark Depths on board. And that's a little risky. He paid the 1 for a mother and found that he, I don't know, if he had the sword, then he didn't have the planes to go with it. And if he had, I think that was an oversight. Okay, game 3. Hasung on the play with 7. Has a Wasteland. He's like, no, you're on the play. No, I'm on the play. Tanking here. I think he's got turn 1 hand disruption here. So it looks like he'll probably grab a Black Source and Duress or Inquisition. I think I saw an Inquisition there. The Inquisition on Hasung will reveal lands and creatures. I mean, as expected. So the Stoneforge or the Thalia are pretty threatening here. Also, if Prelate hits the board on 2 during this game, it's going to be really hard for Donghee to really deal with it. Probably has to take a 2-drop though. So he'll write down the hand and then he selects Stoneforge. And knowing about Thalia, if he's got Moxes in hand, he's got to get rid of them. He's got to cast that now. Have to imagine that this is a Thalia. Thalia's on the stack, and now Donghee's priced into crop rotating here, but if he gets something, I don't know what he really needs here. Oh my god, he's just grabbing Caracas to time walk. Depending on how good the rest of his hand is, this could be fine. It might have been a little bit hasty. His mana, his colored mana is pretty bad now. And without a Life from the Loam, he's also like just thrown away a lot of lands into his graveyard. Draws Sylvan Library for the turn. With Thalia dealt with, he can cast it for 2. Leaves Caracas up. But now Hasung can start beating in. Guess he'll probably opt to cast Prelate this turn. I don't know what he'll name. Knowing the deck, I'm going to say 2. Yeah, that's 2. Oh my god. He's got no colored mana. Donghee's only ways to win are shut off by Prelate, and he's getting his depths completely surgicaled away. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not going to give any more commentary on this game. Well, frankly, I'm too depressed to go on. This is a tough spot.
서거 좀 볼게요. 네, 보세요. One more time. Alright. Anything else? 핸드 그럼 숲 하나 있는 거죠? 네. 네. 스포츠만 컨택 할게요. 네. 네, 턴입니다. 네. 네. 11점. 선이요. 네.
맞아요?
틀려 나와봐요.
네?
하시죠.
할게요.
네.
됐어요. 자, 수고하셨습니다. 저거 약해요.
퍼스컬이요?